Hi, I'm Nancy Burgess, Nancy Burgess Strategic Marketing, and I'm fortunate enough today to have with me, smile Chris, Christine March McCurdy, who's very excited to be here with us today.
Hello.
And yeah, Chris is a graphic designer. And since we're talking about branding bionics, I thought it would be great to bring Chris in and talk a little bit more about branding and what a graphic designer does and how we go about the process in case anybody's out there who needs to develop their brand or rebrand themselves or refresh their brand, because oftentimes we've seen some pretty awful logos. So in our time that we can really improve upon and update and make a brand stand out. So Chris, I'm lucky enough to not only call Chris a graphic designer or a partner in business and also a friend. I mean, well, our kids are the same age, or my two oldest and her too are the same age. And so we met each other through the kids, and then we worked on some school things together when they were in grade school. There was this thing called KidNet, and they had the heart, and she did the logo with a heart and a net. I came up with the name KidNet. It was, like about trying to, it was a parenting thing. So it was kind of cool. And then, I hired you to do when I worked in the agency, I hired you to do some illustrations because she's a great illustrator too. And she has a lot of different styles she can do. So she did illustrations for the pharmaceutical company that was our client. And so those came out really nice. And then we've been working together for the last, since Nancy Burgess Strategic Marketing Inc. started, we've been working together.
Yeah.
So tell us, Chris, what does a graphic designer do?
Well, a graphic designer really does anything visually for brand, logo design, print material, any kind of collateral that your client has a need for.
What do you mean by collateral?
Well, collateral can be a brochure, it can be an ad, it can be any kind of marketing material. It's just a general term for
the stuff. The stuff. That's what I always tell you, it's the stuff of marketing.
That's right. Yeah, anything that you're applying your brand to or your message to. Considered collateral.
Yeah. So before we get into a little bit more about our process, and we're going to take you through a case study, which might be kind of fun, like how a brand identity evolved. I thought it'd be good to define those terms for people. What do you think, Chris? Should I define those? Okay.
Sounds good.
I will define. So the first one is brand identity. And the brand identity is exactly what Chris was talking about. Some of the logo, the favicon. If you don't know what a favicon is, that's kind of a funky term marketers use for that little square or circle on social media, or that shows a brand. Yeah, an icon. And then also it's also used on websites. When you go to a website and you see a little design, you're on MailChimp and there's a little monkey or something like that. So, or, Comcast or Xfinity and there's an X like this. Who talks with their hands? So the world has been changing so quickly, Chris. So I mentioned brand identity, but I want to also talk about branding. Branding is the process of creating the brand, and a brand is more than just the look. It's more than just the logo. This is what confuses people. Even the brand identity is more than just the logo. It's also the words, it's the tagline, it's all the colors, it's how it's put together. Like, what is the look of the brand, the look and feel of the brand? Does it convey fun and energy, or does it convey seriousness and trustworthiness? So all these things Chris conveys in a little bit, and I summarize in a few words. So that's kind of cool. And then the brand is more, though, it's how people feel about your brand identity and your brand. It's the emotions that, you hear the term, good. What do you think? You like Campbell soup. And what do you see? You probably see that red and white can with a little gold medallion. So that is like the whole brand, how something presents itself, something like a tried and true brand. So the world is changing so quickly. So how has graphic design changed since you started being a graphic designer, Chris? Like, how was it when you were back in school? How did you do it?
Yeah, well, yes, it has changed a lot in the years that I've been working as a graphic designer. Obviously, the technology has hugely changed. I started with pen and paper, and now everything's done on computer. Software has gotten so sophisticated. Really, there's just endless possibilities and new tools and software coming out constantly.
And do you find the computer more limiting or more expansive for you?
I think, just the possibilities are so much greater because the tools are more available to us. So faster,
more options,
just definitely more options, more variety, more techniques and looks and feels that we can convey. It's all there.
Even more colors, probably, I would guess, maybe.
Yeah.
And when printed with, traditional printing, are there more options now or no?
Well, yeah, there are more options. In traditional printing is ink printing with either 4-color or 1 or 2 or 3 colors. That's kind of a thing of the past. Everything is digitally printed now. So it's a lot more affordable printing. And
that has changed because people used to say, I only want a 2-color logo because they don't want it to be expensive.
Yeah, you used to have to pay per ink.
Yeah, it's true.
When I say 4-color, every color that there is can be made out of 4 print colors, 4 ink colors.
$100 if you know what cyan is.
Yes. So it's cyan,
just kidding,
yellow,
just kidding. That was a
joke. Black and a magenta, which is like a pink red.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 colors. So anyway, now everything is digitally printed, which means those colors all go down at once, and there's no extra charge for a 4-color as a 1-color.
Yeah, I mean, you could have, I don't know, rainbow in your logo. I mean, not that you would want to, but you could.
Yeah. So yes, I would say more affordable, more accessible. So yes, of course, technology has made, more options available. But a lot of things haven't changed, such as like the creative process.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
That's a good segue. So I was just going to ask you about that. So the creative process we follow is a lot like, the larger agencies where we came from, advertising agencies, creative agencies, marketing agencies that we've worked at. And do you want to talk about that process? You want me to talk about that process?
Sure. Well, Nancy is a marketing professional, and so a marketing person would probably have the first contact with a client. And so maybe you talk about that, and then I'll talk about the creative process.
Yeah. So the account executive works with the client to find out what their needs are and how to serve them best. I use a series of questions I call the brand identity questions, and we come up with that, and from there a creative brief. So what are these brand identity questions? Well, you can find those at nancyburgess.net/shop, and in that shop there are all sorts of different free resources, and you could download that and answer those questions on your own brand to make sure that you are differentiating yourself in a way that makes sense for your brand. So then I work with the client, and then I bring that creative brief and those questions and summarize them to Chris. I may also come up with some language that fits with them. Even with the brand identity, some of those questions, it's like how to differentiate it. What are the competitors? What do the competitors' logos look like? So I'll look those up and have those, maybe some URLs for their websites to see what they look like, because we want to look different. Or we want, some cases clients want to blend a little bit, but you have to also differentiate, like how are we going to make it look better than what the competitors look like. So I pretty much summarize them, and I hand it to you.
Yeah.
And you go crazy for a while.
Yeah. So once Nancy's talked to the client and has gotten all the client input, and, you know, the scope of the project. Then it's my job to visually convey the message or the project that is assigned to us. And so I take all the client concerns into consideration, and you were discussing, we look at their competitors, and then I come up with logo ideas. If we're talking about rebranding or creating a new brand, we might be starting with a logo. And so I come up with logo ideas.
And you said, you told me earlier, you pencil those. You kind of use that, you know, kind of pencil out some.
I probably start with pencil sketches and kind of just brainstorm ideas and do quick little sketches. You know, that helps me kind of like think my ideas through, and then I kind of you know, kind of condense to what I think is working, and then I'll work those up on the computer.
And we're going to have a case study soon. We'll kind of show not the pencils, but some of the ones that she's worked up on the computers. Because I don't see them at the pencil stage. That's kind of internal. And
you probably wouldn't, and it wouldn't be anything that you would really show a client at that point. It's just to kind of, you know, get the ideas out.
I found that most clients can't visualize things as much. That like and sometimes I can't either. So which is why we hire someone like Chris that, you know, really can and convey that in a you know, a little, you know, 2-inch by 2-inch chunk or 1-inch by 2-inch or something. You know? Right.
So then, you know, once I get maybe 5, 6, 7 ideas together, I'll show them to Nancy, and then we'll kind of internally work through, you know, what we like, what we don't like, and then make some revisions, and then you'll present them to our client. And then from there, we get their input, make any revisions or improvements, rework the logos, you'll present them again, and kind of back and forth until we get the one that's the winner. And then from there, then we develop it, and we show the client how it looks on different applications, you know, letterhead, business card, like a marketing piece.
What would be the favicon? I'm always like, we need a favicon. It needs to have some sort of something we can put in a little square, you know, 300 by 300 pixels.
How
which is the size.
Or on their website, of course. And we'll show that to them.
And that conveys also not only, you know, some of these brand identity questions we ask are about values, you know, what the company values. If the brand was a personality, what would it be? And one of the things we didn't talk too much about in this conversation is personal brand, that even people have personal brands, let's say on their LinkedIn or their Facebook, that they convey, you know, people, especially who are, you know, job seekers, convey a personal brand on their social media. And that can get, especially some younger people, in trouble, because people look up that, you know, potential employers look up that personal brand and see like, oh my gosh, this person, you know, is drinking every weekend, or, you know, like, so it can be a problem. But you want to make sure that what you're conveying, you know, online, because once it's out there, that's what you're conveying. So your personal brand matters too. And the other thing we do is sometimes we create a logo from scratch, but then sometimes it's a refresh, you know, like the brand is just, maybe someone else created it, or it just looks a little unprofessional. And
it's just not conveying, I think, what their business is all about. Misleading,
or it doesn't really say anything.
Or it looks out of date, or
things can look
dated. We do a lot of brand refreshing as well.
So let's talk. So should we go through the case study? Sure. Okay, I'm going to screen share. All right. Here's the screen share. Should we put us over there too, Chris? We can put us in the little thing too. We can be over here too. So this is a company. I shouldn't be showing it. I should have set it up first. Oops. Anyway, so this is a company that does lighted signs, and the company Don't get discouraged by seeing this, by the way. This is what they asked for. So we're gonna talk about what they asked for, and then what we do is, work through what they asked for, and then what some recommendations might be to upgrade the brand. This company does lighting and sign services, as it says, but they also wanted to get into and really focus in on their jobber services, like working with these jobbers to create, to replace signs at gas stations, gas station signs, rebranding the gas stations, like, switching a Shell to a Mobil or a Mobil to a Shell or something like that. So it's really important for them to be fast, to get to their client really quickly, because you can imagine if a price sign is out, let's say in the gas station looks all dark, lights are out, no one's going to pull into that gas station, or they're not going to feel comfortable pulling into that gas station. So, so we wanted to create something that showed that they were fast and that they were kind of like superheroes coming there. So you'll see some of these concepts convey some of those things about them. So this is what they asked for. Go ahead, Krista, describe what you're seeing here.
So we did 10 initial logo ideas for them. A lot of times the client gives you very specific direction about what they want to show. So you have to listen to that and take that into consideration, but then you also want to show them some options of, what you think might work better, or in addition to what their concerns
So
are.
they requested maybe having the eye as a light.
Well, I think they were very much concerned with their light bulbs at this point. They do a lot of just changing out of light bulbs. So we wanted to incorporate that. This one, they were very specific about wanting to show these overhead lights. That's a lot of what they do, is replace the bulbs in these overhead lights.
Like parking lots and gas stations and things like that.
Yeah, so this was kind of a, to show the client
Yeah.
their idea.
And the words at the top describe what's going on there. The lights shine on the name. So.
Then this one, they were very concerned about showing like the types of lighted signs. Like there'll be like a plastic domed sign or in a shape, and they do the lighting behind that. So this one, we wanted to make it look kind of like a lighted sign that you would see at a gas station.
And it's glowing, and it shows a little bit of movement in it with the way the sign is shaped. Also, this 3 was meaningful in that it was a father and 2 sons that own the company.
This one, we wanted to show movement and speed, because one of the things that set them apart from other of their competitors is that they're very fast. When a light goes out, it's up to them to come quickly and change it.
Yeah, and they pay attention to this font. Like, look at how that A is treated in Malik, and then even the G's in lighting and signs kind of have, being ital, that they create some movement. So pay attention to that, because you're going to perhaps see that again.
And they really like the 3 lines, because that symbolize the
family
3
members.
owners. So working with that concept, this is just another variation.
Speed and direction. And then we got literal with the superhero. It's probably something I asked for, right?
Well, we started talking, they like the superhero concept.
Yeah,
so
that they're like superheroes swooping in and saving the day.
Yeah. So we're trying to incorporate that, make it a little more playful. This is a superhero again, just a little more stylized.
Yeah, it has the light and the superhero coming in, and the 3 colors. One of the things they had mentioned is that a lot of gas stations have primary colors. You think of BP, it's green and yellow. You have Shell, it's that dark yellow and red. You have Mobil, it's red and blue. So everybody has kind of these primary colors. So we were looking at some of those as well.
And this one, what's faster than lightning? And also, they are a lighting service.
Yeah.
So.
And then it was kind of like like a shield on the chest.
Mhm.
And then we took the shield idea a little further, like Superman here. They come in and do their thing. And then we have the Jackrabbit, fast, and the Jackrabbit superhero.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it also, conveys the speed
Mhm.
and a gas station sign shape. So those were the 10 that we originally showed the client, and then we start whittling them down. So they wanted to see this again and this. And then we added a few words here because we were saying, like, here's the features of you, like, how much does it show your brand? So we were said here, this one shows one feature of your brand, that you do lighting.
Mhm.
This one showed that you do gas station signs and are fast and do lighting. This one shows speed and like a brand and car movement. And this one showed a lot of the features, that they're 24/7 emergency repair, the remarkable speed, integrity, superheroes known for their integrity, the good guys. And the branding, the lighting, the high octane service. That was a phrase that I came up with for their brand, that they provide high octane service, meaning that they're fast and that they, speedy is fast, right? Pretty much. And fueled by passion and exceptional service. Like, they're very passionate about what they do. They're very good at what they do. And then the another concept here, you want to talk about what that one did?
So this one was, actually, that was a repeat. They liked it. So what we do in our next round of concepts that we show them is we keep in the ones that they like. I don't think we had any changes to that one.
Yeah, and there's some,
Maybe color.
we changed some of the words up here too,
Yeah.
the high octane service and remarkable speed. And then the Jackrabbit changed to a horse, which is kind of reminiscent of the mobile horse. Well, the superhero is kind of reminiscent of that too, the one that's standing there with the cape and stuff. So those are the ones they liked. And then they asked for a couple things to come together. And
yeah, so this was our recommended final that they ended up going with. We really liked the icon of the lightning.
shows light.
And the superhero without like being too literal.
Mm-hmm.
We liked the words that look like they have movement to it, so that indicates speed.
Yeah.
And we had played around with the color combinations, and this was the final.
Yeah, and the other one kind of their original logo was an illustration. It was like an entire illustration of like a whole picture of a gas station. It really didn't look like a logo, and then of course it didn't have an icon. So this is the element that you can use as an icon on all the social media and things, and you can even like reverse it out if you want. Sometimes if you want a white icon in the in a deep blue background and things like that. So then Chris packages up all the logos, and she gives the exact color numbers, which help in marketing and in anything online or in print. So we have those and the exact font names and all that. So that's really helpful. So that's our branding bionics for today. And we just wanted to share that with you, and hope you enjoyed this Branding Bionics presentation and our case study. And if you need to refresh your brand, or if you need to develop a brand identity for your business, feel free to join us and reach out, and we can talk to you a little bit more about your brand, find out about your needs and your current brand identity, and help you to move that forward both visually and verbally.
Yep.
And thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.